Life is the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Account for Life podcast. Today, we're just going to talk a little bit about secrets of innovation so you can stand out. And I've read the book Innovation Secrets by Steve Jobs a few times, so at least a couple of times, and just actually in the process of innovating. So I figured I'd talk about it. Secrets of innovation. And so let's jump right in. What is innovation? Let's start out with a definition of innovation, just so we can get the foundation of where we're at and where we're going. Innovation is the action or process of innovating, right? Okay, great. A new method, idea, product, etc. So when we think about innovation, it's basically creating something new. But let's take it a step further. Let's see what else they have to say about innovation. Innovation is the systematic practice of developing and marketing breakthrough products and services. Innovation is the practical implementation of ideas that result in introduction of new goods. Innovation is the practical implementation of ideas that result in the introduction of new goods or new services. So one of the biggest problems, not even a mistake, but the biggest problems I know that I personally had as a business owner is that I did not innovate. And because I didn't innovate, I came to the market with the same thing everybody else had. And so what happens is when you don't innovate, you literally then the market just tells you this is what's going to happen for you. The market will say, well, if we're offering accounting services, then the market's going to say, well, okay, well, you want to offer $5,000, but they're doing it for $500. I'm not going to pay you $500 because you didn't innovate. So innovation is the implementation. It's literally practicing how to implement ideas. Think about it. An idea, right? Your idea. This is one thing. I think I may have talked about it briefly yesterday, but it's something I know I talked to my friend Shauna about it, and I talked to Jenny about it, about how I'm like, I gotta turn my ideas into a brand new innovation of the same thing. And yesterday, as I was brainstorming and sitting down and thinking, because it says implementation of ideas, right? Where does the idea come? What is an idea? An idea is simply something that you think of. So if you've got a business, think about what your idea is of that business. Maybe you don't have a business. Think about whatever it is. What is your idea? It's so interesting because I call myself the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. Where did that come? I don't. Sometimes I'm like, how did that even come about? Like, where did that come from? But it's an idea, right? It's helping you to account for your life. Now, I've said helping you to account for your life so many times that it's almost like I can just it's like it's in me. I can constantly bring something out that says this is how you can account for your life. But then I said, well, I need to turn that. I need to shift this idea. Ask yourself this question. What ideas do I have that's mine? Now, here's what's interesting about ideas. Ideas are shaped. Ideas are formed. Ideas come from other ideas. Sometimes we don't know where the ideas come from. Like yesterday when I was talking about the book that I'm going to release soon, and I'll tell you what the name is. I'm actually working with some people to read it and give me some feedback before I kind of come out with the book. And I thought about it, I said, where did this book come from? Like, how did this book even land coming? It came out of my mouth first. See, I'm the kind of writer that has to speak it out first. I can't sit down and write. Now I can write short, meaning I can write an email, I can write something that's not going to be long. But if I, like I can talk it faster. My mind works so fast once it has a topic. So I took the topic, I created all the things, and I spoke it out. So one of the secrets of innovation is practicing practicing what you can do good. Not best, just good. Not it doesn't have to be the best you ever do because it's going to get better. So practicing what you can do good. What can you do good right now? Or what can you do okay right now? So you take that okay thing and you practice it, right? Because you're going to practice me. I practice delivering something out of my mouth on a daily basis because it's kind of like exercise. I go to the gym, I exercise the muscles. I go for a walk. I exercise, the fact that I'm just going to walk and give my body just life outside because we need to be outside. I'm getting sun. I'm getting all that vitamin D, and I'm also getting in, just I don't know this connection with nature. So I'm practicing, my mouth is practicing something that it needs to practice in order for the words to be spoken better, in order for the stories to come out, on time, and in order for the stories to kind of, always go with what I'm talking about, which is kind of weird. Like you wonder, like, how did that happen when I couldn't do it? At one point, I couldn't do it at all. So I read the book Innovation Secrets of Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs did some interesting things in order to innovate Apple. He took a calligraphy class in college. That was the foundation of fonts. What? Yeah, he took a calligraphy class in college when he was just kind of goofing off. When I say goofing off, he was like college wasn't his thing. He was just like, yo, this is terrible. I don't want to do this. And so he dropped out, but then he decided to sit in on the calligraphy class that inspired him. He went on trips. I think he went to India. He did a number of things that literally helped him to broaden his thinking. So when you're talking about innovation, we have to broaden our thinking. That's another secret. We have to broaden our thinking on the different things that we participate in, the different things the types of books that we read. When I think about all the books that I've read and listened to, the videos, it's kind of like you imagine this. If I've got 100, not much more than 100, it's probably a lot more like 500 books. Take out 500 books deposited in some multiple times. Then there's all that video content of people like Dr. Miles Monroe, Eric Thomas, Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, some really good people. When you think about what happens on the inside of you, all of a sudden something starts to circulate. See, there's the secret to innovation is you deposit it in. Number 3, you deposit something in that literally starts circulating within you. Think about it. Think about it. This makes absolute sense, right? Like I'm a living witness, a living testimony. Like think about yourself and say to yourself, what have I been depositing in? What's starting to circulate within me? I started to do the health thing. And what happened was, as I started doing the health thing, then all of a sudden, healthy accountant. Then it's like, well, how do I now I have to start looking at all these areas in business in a different way, which I didn't actually practically do it for a while, even though I was thinking about it. But now I'm at the point where I said, okay, now I can take this healthy, this accounting, and merge them. Now I see how to do that, right? And so the circulation starts this innovation in you that creates something out of all of the things that circulated. So you're like, what? Now I've got all these things, I got this thing circling, and then something new comes out. Boom, there's the innovation. You're like, wow, that's interesting. Good morning, PB. How are you? You're like, that's how innovation happens. See, innovation is interesting because you have to take time. You got to think. You have to sit, like literally. When I'm innovating, I'm not sitting in front of a computer. Actually, I feel like the computer slows me down because the computer doesn't allow me to work. And this is what Steve Jobs says: you have to work in the analog, meaning you need pen and paper. You don't need a computer to innovate. Why? I need the technology. No. You don't need the technology. Technology is going to be a distraction when you're looking to innovate. See, because you have to take now, I'm sure some people use technology. I'm going on what Steve Jobs said. So he's got innovation secrets out there. So I'm gonna use his, I'm gonna use what he says. So he said, go into analog, which means pen and paper is what you're going to need to innovate. Listen, he's not the only one that said it. I'm sure there's many people, other people that take themselves out of. I think I was reading a story about Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss, he wrote the book, The 4-Hour Work Week. How the heck did he come up with that? He innovated. He innovated to come up with this idea. 4 hours per week. Sheesh, I need that right now. Who? Let me ask a question. Anybody want to work 4 hours a week? Just 4 and make millions of dollars? Tim Ferriss, when he wrote this book, but subsequently, after he wrote the book, and this was after the book, and this is what he said. I heard a quote. He says, I think it was from Russell Brunson's book, Expert Secrets. Tim Ferriss had a quote in there. And well, Russell put a quote in there from Tim because they was in something together. And Tim says, if people followed me around, what they would notice is I live a very boring life. Some days I probably don't do any work. I may just be sitting outside. I may just be drinking some coffee. I may just be doodling. I may just basically doing a little bit of nothing. But what happens from doing a little bit of nothing, he says, during those times, I'm thinking. And then it looks like I did a lot because it's like, wow, look at what he just did. But maybe for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, all he did was sit, listen, write, study himself, do nothing. This is one of the biggest challenges beginner entrepreneurs have when it comes to delivering a product or service. I heard Myron Golden say this. Myron says, a lot of times we rush to the market with an underdeveloped product or service. I've been there, I've done that. Underdeveloped. All right, so what do you want to take from this today? Secrets of innovation. Put it in, it circulates, right? The practice, right? The practice of doing something, right? Good. Doing something okay. Because when you practice, just like Steve Jobs had to practice doing the calligraphy just to get to the point where his mind shifted. So then when he was in the thing that he wanted to create, he says, wow, we can create these new fonts. Creates the new fonts. So you got the practice, right? You got the circulation. And because you've put it in, right? You've gone through a process to get something in. What's going to come out? Innovation. Innovation is the practical implementation of ideas that result in the introduction of new goods or new services. We all have innovation secrets right on the inside of us. Why don't you take some time today to think? If I were praying, I would just say, Lord, what is my innovation? Lord, what have you placed on the inside of me? Seed that I can take out and use to help people. Lord, what is it that I can do that's different, that's unique only to me? But lastly, Lord, what have you gifted me with that is so amazing that all the people that I should bless with my gift would know that, wow, that was for me. What is it? Those are some questions that you can ask today as you start your path and use these secrets of innovation so you can stand out and be the person you were created to be. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the I AFYL Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And look, let me know if you would like an early version or be the first to get the book on transformation. I'm not telling you the whole title, but the book on transformation that will be coming out soon. Let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure to put you on a list, and I'll let you know how you can register for that. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the I AFYL Podcast. Jay Moore, Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.